Okay, this is Final Soldier for the PC Engine, and this is really the first game that I'm looking at on the PC Engine in this series. So what I'm wanting to do is spend probably a month just talking about shoot 'em up games and the various ones that I own. And last week I talked about the Master System games. But this game, Final Soldier, is one in a series of games for the PC Engine called the Soldier series. And probably the most well known is, well, it is part of the series and it isn't. It's one called Gunhead, or on the TurboGrafx in the West it was called Blazing Lasers. And that game was made by, it wasn't by Hudson Soft that did the rest of the series, it was Compile. So I'm not entirely sure what the relationship is, but I think the idea was they did the first game on the PC Engine and then the rest of them were really just almost like clones of that game. So I've played Gunhead 1, was it Gunhead or... no, it was the Western release, so it would have been Blazing Lasers only once, and I've only played the first level and it looks very similar to the first level on this, but that one's meant to be considered the best one. The only problem is that Gunhead is really expensive, whereas Blazing Lasers, the Western release, is cheap because it came bundled with every TurboGrafx, but for some reason the Japanese release is really expensive and the machines are not compatible. So this is one reason why I went with this one. I thought, well, the other games in this series are not meant to be quite as good, but they're not far off. And I've really enjoyed this. It's not that difficult from what I've played so far. You can get normally onto the second, third level without losing a life. And this is just normal difficulty. But the weapon system's really good because you get power-ups. You get power-ups and yeah, that increase the strength of your weapon, but you can then change the weapon, so it's a little bit like Turrican in a way. So your V, so you got V, these canisters, and L for example. So L is for laser, E is your energy weapon. I think V is extra power, and those canisters give you another support ship. And what you can do is, wow, that's a nice big sprite. With the support ships, they're almost like your shield, so if you get hit you lose a ship. So it's almost like your weapon system is your shield, and the more you get hit the worse your weapon gets. Which kind of makes sense, because usually when you get shot and you lose a life you end up with, you know, all your power-ups gone, so this in a way just gives you almost like graceful degradation. But to say this is a PC Engine game, this game looks as good, if not better, than a lot of Mega Drive shoot 'em ups. I think the benefit that the PC Engine has, it has a slightly larger colour palette than the Mega Drive, but it has a very small amount of RAM and the hue cards are quite small, which is why the CD add-on, the TurboGrafx CD and then the Super Graphics CD, or Super CD rather, it had the benefit that you could add extra RAM through the hue card slot to the PC Engine and then effectively upgrade the RAM up to something silly like, I think it was 16 megabit in the end, which is about 2 megabyte, which is pretty good. Yeah, this will be the final boss. Well, final boss for this level. So you get like a sub-level boss and then the final one. But I just love these sprites. They're huge, and there's no... I mean, considering that it's got this 8-bit CPU, the game really looks impressive, and it really just showed that the PC Engine, I mean, graphically so much more advanced than the Master System was, and the NES. And that's because it has its fancy graphics chips in there that bring it up to the level of the Mega Drive. Yeah. It's quite interesting that a lot of early Mega Drive shoot 'em ups were really ports of PC Engine games. Oh, that's like a Jeff Minter game. Right. But the scrolling on it's really nice. It's kind of odd though that this series of games didn't get ported to the Mega Drive, which is bizarre. Yeah, I don't like the green weapon, the energy weapon. I like the standard one, or the missiles. Ooh, this is getting fast. Oh, slow down now. Yeah, that's better. The missiles are quite nice because they do heat seeking. Oh, there we go. Slight panic then. I thought, oh, the game's about to get really quick, and it didn't. It got really slow. Right, take this guy out. Ah, it's not the boss. There's more than one. Yeah, I'm not quite so impressed with the graphics on this level. It's a bit generic. There's not a lot of detail in the background. I think with space levels you can get away with it because you can just have a load of black and it looks okay. Yeah, the music's pretty good too. No, not the energy weapon. The boss must be coming up soon. Yeah, this bit looks a bit ropey. It looks very 8-bit. There's not a lot of detail in the background. But, I mean, I wonder if this is due to the size or the limitations of the hue cards. Because the PC Engine can handle far better, or more detailed backgrounds than this. It's a shame really that the PC Engine or the TurboGrafx didn't get released in the UK. Because, well, I suppose even in the US earlier. Because the Master System got a really late release, and there was a period of time between the Master System coming out and the Mega Drive coming out when the Master System graphically looked okay but not great. The Amiga looked great, but was, cost a fortune before the Amiga 500 came out, which was pretty expensive even then. And the Mega Drive, and if NEC had have released this machine during that period, so 1987, it would have done really well, I bet. I'm not sure how much it was in Japan, whether it was an expensive machine or whether it was cheap. Don't know. But I just love shoot 'em ups on this machine. They're just so smooth, and there's no slowdown at all. Yeah, I'm playing this with it's a Japanese PC Engine, but I'm playing it with a hacked TurboGrafx pad to work on the machine. So I assume the Japanese pad is fairly similar, but I mean this TurboGrafx one is really nice for playing shoot 'em ups. It's really responsive. Yeah. What I want to do this week is try. I think it depends how it goes, but what I want to do is perhaps stick with a machine every week. Maybe the Mega Drive will take a couple of weeks, but see if I can do the rest of the PC Engine games in 1 week. I think the problem is I don't want to overload people, but I think as long as I keep these at reasonable lengths it should be okay. Yeah, love the soundtrack. But for the shoot 'em ups that I've got on the PC Engine, they're quite different. So the other one's heavy units, then there's download, and what's it called? I'm thinking Final, it's not Final, Image Fight, which is another top-down shooter, but they're all quite different in their own ways. And then there's Dragon Spirit. Oh, that got quite busy back then. Yeah, the other thing is you get the select button that lets you change. One life gone. Lets you change the speed of the craft, but I find it really awkward to play like that. Yeah, so that's the really weenie version of the energy weapon. Yeah, this level is where it starts to get hard. Bollocks. I think you can get this on Virtual Console. There's a few games from the series on there. It's got Star Soldier as well on there. I noticed that today. Yeah, I bought a couple of... No! Yes. Oh, setup. What does that do? Oh, I see. Yeah, you can configure the weapons. Forgot you could do that. Let's do that. Big fecking laser. Yeah, I've been on the fence about buying PC Engine games because I like to get the Hue cards when they're reasonably priced. And I like to play games on the real hardware, but for the PC Engine CD, the games are really impressive. But the price of the unit, it's more than I'm really prepared to pay for because they're not very reliable, and the problem you get is these machines are over 20 years old. So maybe 25? Are they quite that old? I'm not sure. The PC Engine's 25 years old, or just over, but I don't want to shell out a lot of money on a CD unit to have it break, even though the games are quite reasonably priced. So the two that I really wanted to play were Gates of Thunder and Lords of Thunder, which I think in Japan was called Wings or Winds of Thunder. So I ended up just biting the bullet and going for those on the Virtual Console. So after I've done the PC Engine Hue card games, I'll look at those. I'm doing really bad. I'll give it one more go. That was me waffling and not paying attention. It's because it's because in the last level I built my ship up without losing a life. It's the old thing, once you've lost all your shields and you're back to square one, the game's really hard. Yeah, I'll just be cheap and use that weapon. It's a bit lazy, but there you go. Oh, I think I took a hit. No. No, I think that's it. I think that's me done. Right, I'll leave it there. The next video will be Heavy Unit. Now I've committed to that. So thanks for watching.